Living life in colonial America was not easy. There was no running water, no bathrooms, limited resources, primitive laws, fending for yourself, dealing with harsh winters and unforgiving summers. Income and jobs were limited. All your news traveled word of mouth. And religion was a way of life for everyone, even for those who chose not to participate. Villages and towns naturally formed as immigrants crossed the American wilderness, seeking their freedoms and fortune. Working together made life easier. However, this also created rivalries among families, cultures, and creeds. The Salem Township of Massachusetts was not immune to such issues, and in 1692, something shameful happened. The Salem witch trials was a volatile period in time and was a symptom of political and social strife. The trials should be discussed and not forgotten because of the fallacies that people were led to believe, and the establishment of a makeshift theocracy, which cost many innocent people their lives. There are powerful lessons to be learned in reading and studying the Salem witch trials. I have reviewed and examined documentation pertaining to the trials to present to you a timeline today. It will explain the beliefs of how the Salem witchcraft terror began in early 1692 and who was first accused. Next, I will entail how this led to 200 others being accused. And lastly, I will explain how the town righted its wrongs and acknowledged the families afflicted. One of the biggest contributing factors that led to the Salem witch trials, reported by Donna Batten, 2010, in Gale Encyclopedia of American Law, Volume 8, 3rd edition, was a decades-long feud between two families, the Porters and the Putnams. Both families were wildly successful in industry and had multiple sons. Ultimately, though, the Porters had cultivated their business throughout the colonies and even as far as the Caribbean, growing their wealth and resources further than the Putnams, who were deeply Puritan and simply farmed in the Salem area. Donna Batten goes on to report that in 1689, a new ordained minister known as Reverend Samuel Parris was appointed to the Salem village for service. The town's committee, which consisted of 26 individuals, 11 of whom had ties to the Putnam clan and who were devoutly Puritan, wanted to give the Reverend Parris a parsonage, a barn, 2 acres of land, and eventually a salary raise. This did not bode with members of the community, and action was taken in October of 1691 to install new members whom were tied to the Porter clan. The new committee ended up vetoing the raise of the Reverend's salary. And not too long after that, the first incidents of witchcraft accusation by Elizabeth Parris, 9, Samuel Reverend's daughter, Abigail Williams, 11, the Reverend's niece, and their friend Ann Putnam, 12, of the Putnam clan, had voiced witchcraft accusations. The girls would twist and convulse their bodies, had violent outbreaks of screaming and throwing objects, and claimed they were being assaulted by apparitions and having strange dreams. Jara Genretta, 2016, Religion and Politics in America, an encyclopedia of church and state and American life, documents that after being diagnosed by the local doctor William Griggs as being under the spell of an evil hand, he said that he could do nothing for them. Thus, questioning the girls to find their tormentors began, and they accused 3 women, Tituba, the Parris slave, Sarah Good, and Sarah Osborne. Leslie J. Lindenauer, 2003, Dictionary of American History, Volume 7, 3rd edition, dates that on February 29, 1692, the warrants went out for the women. All 3 women were jailed and faced in the court of Oyer and Terminal, which was specifically put together for the processing of witches. Good and Osborne pled innocence and remained in jail, while Tituba had confessed and was set free. From spring to fall of 1692, over 200 people were accused of witchcraft in the court of Oyer and Terminal, which 15 women and 5 men were being put to death, 19 of them hanged. 4 prisoners died in jail. And generally speaking, the people that had been accused of witchcraft were outsiders, not of good standing with the Puritan community or those who spoke out against vilifying people of witchcraft. Osborne had known to have premarital relations with an indentured servant. Good never attended church. Tituba was black. And Bridget Bishop, the first woman hanged, was a barkeep at a bar that was frequented by travelers and was too boisterous and problematic for the Puritan lifestyle. One of the last accused was the governor of Massachusetts, William Phipps's wife. Pleas came from Cotton Mathers, a respected minister from Boston, and his son Increase Mather, a University of Harvard president, to end the spectral evidence in court and to end the witch hunts indefinitely, with Increase Mathers stating, "It were better that 10 suspected witches should escape than one innocent person be condemned." At that point, the governor decided to dissolve the Court of Oyer and ban arrests for witchcraft on October 29, 1692. All trials were terminated and the cases were dismissed. The General Court found trials to be unlawful in 1702, and restitution, up to £600 per family, was provided in 1711. Some theorize that the girls acted out because of the fungus that was found in rye bread, or that the teenage girls were just simply bored, or even that they were convinced by their religion and the surrounding adults that this was an acceptable and even rewarded behavior. To conclude, the beginning of the trial sparked by the 3 Puritan girls accusing 3 women of witchcraft in early 1692 began. The entire village is lit aflame with accusations, and trials are held. People are sentenced to death on account of people's dreams and visions. The Court of Oyer is eventually abolished in 1692 and ruled unlawful. Order is restored and family names are rightfully reinstated. It's easy to get caught up in political and social movements. It's even easier to accept fallacies and follow a leader. But you have to decide for yourself what side of history you want to be on.